the immediate off the Empress needs to be done for Suna now, because he knows he's going to be potentially going up against both players at once, and he's right!
Probably not. More than likely just 100 Thieves doing their thing now, and it's working out extremely well for them as Suna.
The problem is
what? More down low. Austin wants to get aggressive, just on the ropes. What in the SEAL Team 6 is this? He's gonna find one down at the right.
But still wanting to go towards A here.
Yeah, you know, this round here, as patience is really all that's needed to close out this round. FNS is just gonna
He's gonna get the pain shells out, but he's gonna go down in the end. But Bobby with the spray there. Oh, that is very nice from Bobby.
Anticipate Mark, who's just on the opposite side of the smoke.
Shut this down if he plays this way. Baby Bay right around the corner. 1, 2. That's exactly what we were talking about. Another one for Baby Bay.
Them slowly starting to make things happen here, but Baby Bay still alive with the knives. Able to get one more. Oh, beautiful stuff from Baby Bay.
Mid is completely controlled by the defenders. Baby Bay
I
with a spray.
don't believe
Corey
it.
with a swing.
I don't believe it!
Corey keeps going and he gets a third.
Derek is having a hard time with that one. Seeker's gonna go down. Zachary's inside the smoke. They don't hear it. And look at this, he catches him inside.
For a long time, he's gonna be able to find maybe another kill on top of it. He is. He's doing so much work. Finds a couple of kills. Derek on the way in just has the LMG trying to hold on the trigger. 1v1. Shakes, confirms it, and Rise upset Cloud9 Blue to get the Challengers one.
In. You have to approach this map that way because it's so big and because there's so many different things to control.
Oh my god! Oh my god!
It's gonna come out, counter smoke. The flash is there, excuse me. Oh, TENZ! Up close and personal. Shazam's good for one as well. 100 Thieves are just down.
He is alone, but again, he has that dismiss. He can easily dip out straight into B-man if he wants, but he wants to stick around.
Instant dismiss, but he's still going for more frags. He's gonna be able to get one, so a second dismiss, and he's going for 3. TENZ! Lining up 3, making a 4th. Why not? TENZ!
We'll get the brute force of the first. Oh no.
I thought for sure that was gonna be a free kill.
Yao Joe, nothing to punish. There's the swing. Dre good for 1. Dre good for 2. He's good for 4. Is he gonna get another ace in this game?
There's the first shock dart. Goes to the tackle. Second for 2. Death now on the point. Resurrection coming through. There's one more Death. Looking for more. Does get destroyed meanwhile, but Harmon sticking for the snake bite will deny. So will the pain shells. Beautifully played. Just down to 1. Kohler nowhere to go. And it's second. Responding for 4.
Drops it up into the corner, does get some bullets off, and does find Kohler. Takes him a bit, he's getting the job done.
But nonetheless, speaking of leading, now leading the scoreboard.
Last player standing inside hoop. They're trying to draw some blood. Nice shots coming out from Bang. He's found 3. The ult's gonna go down as well. That's a 4K for Bang.
Flank that you mentioned is gonna get sniffed out by Effies, but he's looking the wrong way. Now the odds are even.
Hello? Zabroza has helped for first elimination. The quick scope not going to be there. But Zabroza through lamps is good for not just 2, but 3.
Oh my god. Down to just Wardell. Both players on site. They don't have anything to cordon him off. There is no cyber cage, and as a result, Wardell can do what Wardell does best.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the VCT playoffs, and this has been a crazy year so far. We started things off with First Strike. We saw 100 Thieves just tear it up and hold the trophy at the end of the day. Masters won, though. Sentinels rose to the top, and with TENZ being on that roster...
Hold on. Veli. Vance, fix your mic, dude. I got you.
Thanks, man.
Yo, production, can we lose this graphic, too? This is not working for me. Can we go to, like, a wider shot or something? Perfect. Thank you very much.
This is more like it. Good to see you, Bob.
Let's
What's up,
go.
man?
Boom. High five.
There we go. But we saw Sentinels tear things up over in Reykjavik, the first international land that we had here in Valorant. But right now, the road to Berlin is going to be better than ever as we have the 8 best teams from all of NA battling it out. And we're going to find out which 3 are going to represent us all out there in Berlin. But welcome to the desk. My name is Veli, and I'm here with my boys Bach and Van Silly. Bach, how do you feel to be here, man?
I mean, it's great to be back in the studio, Vance. I mean, just hanging out here, doing what we've been doing online over the last year. I mean, it's crazy to think. This is the first time we've been able to do a LAN broadcast and we've been covering Valorant since the beta.
It has been a while. I mean, I'm super excited not only for the games today, and now I had the shivers because we actually get to interact and be face-to-face and actually cover all of this action on the desk this week.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun to be here with you guys, but it's going to be a lot of fun covering this event. And take a look at the teams that work their way here. I'm going to be honest, this has been a journey. Me personally, I love the fact that we have TSM once again rising to the top. We have Coach Myth. He's going to be in the house as well. He's going to be doing this thing with the TSM, but seeing Wardell, Sub-Rose, and the rest of those players really rise up, I want to see what they do for Vans.
Yeah.
Which team are you excited to see here?
Definitely at this point, you have to think about Ye. You know that song from 50 Cent? All eyes on me. It's going to have to be all eyes on Envy at this point because Envy with Ye is probably the hottest transfer in 2021.
Oh, 100%.
And now they're probably the center slayer and potentially maybe the new NA Hope. Well, I mean, I wouldn't say NA Hope because Sentinels is already on top, but I mean like the new NA Slayer, the new representative.
I get what you're saying, though. Ye is potentially an incredibly promising talent. When you look at his performance when he was playing with his old team, he was so much further ahead than the rest of the roster.
Yeah.
So to now see him dropped into a stronger team, there's so many possibilities.
So who do you like to see here in the VCT playoffs?
I mean, come on, look at 100 Thieves. One of the best teams potentially in the world. I just don't think we've seen them get to that point yet. I said this at First Strike. I said 100 Thieves will be one of the best teams in North America, if not one of the best teams in the world. But then they kind of flatlined for a little bit. They didn't necessarily make it to that level. I don't think that's a testament to them being a bad team. I just think that they needed a little bit more time, and we weren't willing to give it to them at first. I think this is the opportunity for 100 Thieves to really prove that they are a really strong team in North America.
You're definitely right. I would love to see 100 Thieves really pop off this event. But let's go ahead and take a look at a bracket right now to see what's going to be happening, which teams are going to be playing who. And Van Silly, when it comes to this bracket, which matchup are you most excited about?
Oh, Valley Buck, I think at this point, I'm throwing all that stuff out the window because today in day one for the NA Challengers Stage 3, we actually get our first two representative to know who's going to be the first two teams representing North America in Berlin. And usually it's like day 3, day 4, but we're finding that out today, baby. And that's where I'm most excited about.
There we go. Bach, what about you right now? I'm looking at that Envy and TSM game, and I'm going to be honest. That looks like a spicy matchup.
I mean, Envy TSM is going to be a great matchup, but I'm also looking at XZ versus LG. I feel like both of those games could be really, really good, really close. And there's also some unknown factors there. Like in LG, we've got Moose returning to the roster, and we don't really know what that's going to do because if you actually look with the agent compositions, it really juggles things up because Moose was a Sova main. Dazzle's been holding down that position. I don't know. There's just a lot of question marks. So many question marks coming into today about what the teams are going to look like with these new plugins literally made this last week.
This is going to be insane. But let's take a look at the schedule for today to see what's going to be happening. And don't forget, there's also a B stream. Check that out if you want to see my boy Ender over there with his duo Simo. That's going to be an exciting cast. But for today, the first match coming up is going to be Rise vs Sentinels. And then while that's going on the B stream,
Banger. Envy versus TSM. I know that there's a little bit of resentment on the desk because that game is going to be so good, and we would love to see it. But I also think that this first game is a sleeper. I think Sentinels versus Rise is going to be a better game than I think people expect because Rise is basically only preparing for this game. The last week or so has been all, let's get ready for Sentinels, let's get ready for Sentinels. After that, we obviously have 100 Thieves versus FaZe, and then on the B stream, they'll be covering XZ versus LG.
But it's only right that we have the champions here in NA, and especially all of Valorant on the first game here on the main stream.
That's it.
But Van Silly, for those people at home that are just tuning in for the first time, how would you set the tone for what to expect in this match?
Exactly. You have to give them the respect, at least for Sentinels, to put them on the A stream to start things off because these guys are Master 1 champions. They're also Master 2 champions. They're unstoppable in North America. They barely dropped any maps qualifying into this point too. So you definitely have to put them on this A stream. We are looking at all the other 7 teams. Who's actually going to beat them? Honestly, I don't think anybody could. If you're looking at the top 3 in North America that's going to qualify for Berlin, you're really fighting for the 2nd spot and that 3rd spot.
Hold on, not even Envy? Your team? You don't think that Envy could beat them?
I mean, it's the eyes to look out for, but even if it Envy my team to look out for, I'm still on that hopium that TSM is going to beat Envy today, so...
Let's go ahead and break down the teams right now and break down this matchup. First things first, let's talk about Rise Nation, led by none other than Shanks. And you said his brother Poise is on the roster. We have Neptune, Derek, and Superman as well.
Oh, man.
Van Silly, what do you like about this team?
I'm super happy about this lineup, actually. Again, I've said it before where it's like, yes, Team Vietnam. Like, I'm representing it. I'm bored with this team. But at the same time, Derek and Superman, the latest additions to this team, definitely skyrocketed the potential that Rise has going into this bracket. Superman's a great controller player, Derek's a great Sova player, and now you also have Shanks that's also molded outside of this Jet 1 trick to start playing some Sky as well. So you're seeing a little bit more depth from Rise, maybe not as much practice in terms of how deep their map pool could go, but definitely they have that upset potential. Against Sentinel, I'm not too sure though.
And speaking about Sentinels, Bach, I'm gonna need your help for this one. We're talking about the Masters 1 champions, Masters Reykjavik champions. They're gonna be here trying to take it all in Berlin as well. What about this roster do you like?
I mean, we all know the players, right? And ultimately, we have to ask ourselves, is that Viet power that you mentioned on the other side going to be enough to best the likes of Sick, TENZ, Shazam, Dapper, and Zoms? This is such an incredibly good roster. And it's funny when we take a trip back about a year and we look at when this roster was first formed, no one had the expectations that this would be the best team in North America and the world. Sure, it looked like a good team, but the way that this has clicked and the way that pieces have fallen into place, especially with TENZ joining the roster and bringing things to an even higher level, it's incredible to watch this team play, because even the worst player in a bad game for Sentinels is better than the best player on a large number of teams.
On a lot of teams.
Yeah.
You're definitely right. And now, speaking about the best players on teams, we have a little head-to-head, and this one's going to be kind of special because, obviously, TENZ is going to be the main man to watch.
Yeah.
But who on the other team, Rise Nation, of course, is going to have to match up against him, Van Silly?
At this point, Billy, I mean, we have Shanks on a head-to-head versus TENZ, but overall, I'm just going to have to think it has to be a team performance for all of Rise. Because if you look at these stats, yes, it looks pretty good for Shanks. He hasn't played that many maps here on Jet. Like, I've looked at, I think at his stats since, like, June. He's played, like, 17 maps, 4 maps here on Sky. So he's been actually going out of this role. But where it actually clicks very well for Rise is the coaching staff here with Anger actually coaching this team, and also to see how they're able to go a little bit deeper in the agent pool overall. Superman's definitely going to have to be that player that's going to support Shanks to be able to win.
Now, you know, around Valorant, there's a lot of talk about, oh, CNED, you have Scream, you have everyone else out there. But the best player in the game, hands down, is going to be TENZ. And Bach, what we've seen from TENZ so far here in Valorant, it's been nothing less than a gift.
It's actually kind of wild, right? Because we watched TENZ in his early days in CS, and he started his come up, and then it stopped like almost instantaneously. Like, he gets signed by Cloud9, he gets a big opportunity on stage, and it doesn't go very far beyond that. He kind of flatlines, becomes a content creator. He was pretty good at that too. It's not to say he was bad, but then for whatever reason, he comes into Valorant, and everything just makes sense. Like, all of the problems you might have seen in CS, largely related to his immaturity in esports. I think he was just a young player, and he was working through a lot of things. Now he is like the perfect player, like super malleable, and he's right under a strong in-game leader that can help kind of fine-tune him and like unleash the beast within.
Yes, now that is TENZ once again, the guy that hails from Vancouver, 20 years old, by the way, with that type of skill. He has a long future ahead of him. But we actually put together a really hype video when it comes to the Sentinels, so let's go ahead and take a look.
Being at the top, though, every other team is going to have a target on your head, and you have to prepare and not really underestimate any other team.
I bet this is the first time I call TENZ. This is his world, and we're just living in it.
They have made history here, Riv. They are the first global champions in Valorant history.
Our main goal was making it to the first ever late event. Like, that was it.
But I think at this point, we've been through so many grand finals.
Sentinels are the Masters 2 Reykjavik champions.
So many events that we just know everybody's just going to do their job.
Look at the flank. Look at how much space Sentinels have taken. Sick now uses the red back, and oh my god.
I think the thing that makes our team really good is that every player is like really well rounded.
But we're always like adapting. We're always playing really well together. I have some faith in us as a team, and going into champions, I'm pretty sure we'll be just as confident as going into like Masters 2, for example.
We won Masters 1. We won Masters 2. I'm planning on winning Masters 3. It's just going to be a thing that like I'm chasing after.
Oh, Dapper wants it. I know. That way because it's so big and because there's so many different things to control. Oh my god. Oh my god. And he can just play this out for time. Sick. Baby, you call him sick because that boy's cold.
When it comes to strategies, we don't think of set plays. More so like we set up protocols in our team.
Playing with protocols and not really having anything set. It's more just like on the fly and adapting.
We see what works best for us. Like, how's the meta, how people are playing, and how we can counter it up. Whether it's a certain agent change or how we approach it. When we're in this scenario, this is what we expect out of certain people. This is where we expect to use their certain abilities. And so when it's applicable, then do it.
Has that dismiss, and he could easily dip out straight into B-man if he wants, but he wants to stick around.
Instant dismiss, but he's still going for more frags. He's gonna be able to get one soul, a second dismiss, and he's going for 3. TENZ! Lining up 3, making a 4th. Why not TENZ?
And I think it's just like overall a more efficient way of playing. So it might seem less tactical, but I think it takes a lot more teamwork to play like that than it does to just get in a server and like say like you're gonna do this, this, and this, and this, and it's a bunch of robots just following a script. There's a lot more thinking that goes into like the way we play.
I'll just say straight up that people that think that we're playing or not playing tactically and we're just holding W, that's like bullshit, because you're obviously not looking at like the little like fine print of how we play and the small details. You're just looking at surface level like, oh, like gun go burr, shoot heads.
My thing is, I don't want anybody winning a Masters from NA, so we're the only people with the title.
It has been a long road for Reykjavik, where 10 teams arrived and competed, but only one remains standing and able to call themselves the world's best. And they did it in undefeated fashion, taking down every other region at the tournament without dropping a map.
All right, I don't know about you guys, but I'm definitely ready for this matchup to get started between Rise Nation and especially Sentinels. But first things first, it's time to talk about the map, so I'm going to need some help from my boy Van Silly. Van Silly, I mean, let's be honest. Sentinels, great team, right?
Yeah.
Rise Nation definitely want to cause this upset. Now, take a look at their map pool. Both teams' map pools, by the way. If you're Rise Nation, where do you want to take Sentinels in order to try to pull off this win?
Yeah, I think at this point, Valiant Block, where Rise would probably have the best success is trying to take it over to Ascent, or mainly Split. I think Split has been their best map so far, and I feel that they're the kind of team that's going to try to Anistrat any type of team that they go up against. This is why they had that upset potential that I was mentioning before. So if they're going to ban Split, speaking about Sentinels, I want to see that curveball come out. I want to see some Breeze. We know we saw 3 maps coming out from Sentinels actually on Breeze where they played against Xset, Envy, and I think it was Gen G as the 3rd one. So I think what Anger should do at this point is anti-strike the hell out of Sentinels and try to make sure that at least get 1 map in this best out of 3.
The biggest problem, though, is that as much as they want to go to Split, Sentinels is never going to let that happen. You know that ban's going to be the first thing that comes in. Sentinels has no desire to play Split, so very likely that map will be kicked out, and we'll pull up the maps here in just a second. There's the first pick by Sentinels. That's surprising. And then Rise does get the Ascent pick in there. The final map will be Bind. So we do see the Sentinels ban of Split, and we also get the Rise ban of Icebox, which is what we expected.
Yeah. This is where it's interesting, though, right? Because, sorry, Valley, because at this point, it's like, wow, okay, Sentinels is taking Breeze at this point. I want to see the third map.
Now, also, you wanted to see Sentinels on Ascent as well. Now,
correct.
Map for map, we see what's going on now, and it's going to be time for predictions as these teams are almost ready in the lobby. Starting off with you, Bach. Who do you have winning this? Is it as easy as it looks when you look at both of these teams on paper?
Coming into today, I think a lot of people would say, easy for Sentinels, not a problem. But the more we've actually talked about the series, both on air and off air, the more I've realized there's an opportunity here for Rise to pull an upset. And a large part of that is based off this map pool. That map pool does not really benefit Sentinels that much. Them going with Breeze first does concern me because we actually talked about it. We thought that would be the pick coming in from Rise. So I think to a certain extent they're like, sick. Yes, I can't believe they let us get this. We've got this first map, and then we get to go into Ascent, a map that they stereotypically do not play. That's a huge advantage. I still want to kind of put this with a grain of salt, though. Sentinels is the best team in the world. It doesn't matter what the map pool is. Rise is tremendously inexperienced in comparison, but it is interesting. I think I still got to give the nod to Sentinels, though.
Okay, so Sentinels for you, and Breeze coming up first. That's a map that just isn't fully fleshed out yet when it comes to meta, and we don't know who the best teams are here. Do you think Rise can possibly make things good by winning that first map?
I would say yes. I think this series is going to lay on Breeze for sure. So if Rise can actually get this upset versus Sentinel on this map, it might take the series. But overall, again, agreeing to what Bach is saying, it's going to have to be Sentinels 2-1 at this point.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, it's about that time. The road to Berlin starts now. It's going to be Sentinels versus Rise Nation. So my man's hold shift, and it's going to be dust. Go ahead and take it away. Can't wait.
Thanks so much, gentlemen. Looks like you guys are having a lot of fun. Just try to keep it down, all right? We're trying to work out here. But
yeah, there was a liquid flammable hazard sign that they might need to worry about over there. That's a class 3 hazard. Might want to stay clear of any petrol or gasoline floating around that warehouse they're in.
Yeah, for sure. Indeed the case. But yeah, like they mentioned, I hold shift here with Dust. And yeah, very interesting map set because, hey, map number 1, Breeze, you know, we had a chance to watch Sentinels play over a grand final and a lower final in this match. You know, we were kind of questioning how much of a realistic look feel things out. On the other point here, though, for Rise, we haven't seen them play this at all, Dust.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I don't know what to expect from Rise. You know, this is one of those dice rolls where, yeah, you've been able to watch Sentinels play it a few times, and so maybe you can anti-strat them a bit, but that was over a month ago. You don't know what they would have changed in the last 3 to 4 weeks, and you yourself have not proven, you know, what you can do in an official setting. Scrims are a lot different than stepping up to the plate with Berlin on the line. So this is definitely a little bit of a hole in Rise's map pool, perhaps, because, you know, they weren't able to get split out. We knew that Sentinels were going to get rid of that. We know that Rise struggles on Icebox as well. So there's different things like that that just made it tough for Rise to come into this pick ban and get an edge. Right now, we are seeing the exact same composition Sentinels did run in their previous 3 games on Breeze, the only 3 that they've ever played. And so for Rise, it was kind of just like, we'll have to see, right?
Yeah.
And what you're seeing is Neptune flexing into that Sky, which we've seen a lot of secondary duelists do in the NA scene. Shanks will keep the Jet. Superman obviously playing the controller by playing the Viper. And then Derek actually electing not to go Sova and actually putting a Cypher on the map. So that's very interesting to go without a Sova on such a large map.
Yeah, that's definitely, I think, the biggest kind of key differential between both of these squads is the fact that it's Sage on one side, Sova on the other, and then your choice of Sentinel kind of between the mix of whatever you so prefer, whether it's the Killjoy or the Cypher. But as we get into the pistol, will be a pretty passive setup here for Rise. And one of the things that, you know, you need to keep in mind is that Rise has been very creative over the course of this stage, and it'd be really interesting just not having a chance to see them at all throughout this map. What do they have in store for us?
Yeah, not really sure as we are seeing Rise kind of set up for the A split here. They're being able to get control over towards switch position. Already had the entry on the Shazam as well. They're attacking the pyramids and they're getting some deep penetration into the site. But now we're seeing Dapper and TENZ actually fighting back very effectively.
Looking pretty solid, even trades coming through. Poise trying to keep some space to work with as TENZ has established threat over the middle of the map. Spike is still down just outside of A, and Poise nearly gets an angle but can't quite convert the shots, and of course TENZ will punish. That'll be no problem whatsoever, but Neptune looking to at least still get this spike planted, and it does seem like that will be what he's able to go. 1v3 now, but no chance to get that off the ground, so Sentinel takes first defense.
Yeah, I mean, it started out pretty promising from the Rise perspective, you know, being able to get some pretty good initial map control, you know, setting up this particular A split, being able to get into the A halls, be able to, you know, get out Cave and start making some progress in the site. And, you know, they were able to get kind of that first layer of the site kind of playing behind the pyramids towards Cave, but there was just kind of a switch that got flipped in the mid-round where you started seeing Sentinels able to kind of sit back and fight back at range, be able to get themselves into an advantage in the end, and ultimately come up with the victory there. So really solid way to kick things off of your Sentinels, coming in as the favorite, coming in on a map that you haven't played a whole lot, but Rise hasn't played at all, so you're kind of, you know, it's kind of the devil that you don't know, so to speak. And so far, things have gone the way that they wanted.
Well, it's really funny because you think back to when we were watching Sentinels play this map versus both XSET and 100 Thieves most recently, but like you mentioned, that was a month ago. That is most recently. You know, there was a lot of battle for what was happening in the middle of the map. Maybe not off the rip, but definitely through the mid-round. There seemed to be a lot of pressure being established from all 3 of those aforementioned squads, trying to take over that mid-map, especially from the defensive POV. So I'll be really curious, I think, just to see if Rise is going to have a response to that, because we've already established that threat early here, as you see TENZ kind of getting in the middle of the map early, trying to take away space and have the ability to dash right away in case he doesn't like the look of the fight. So I don't know. It's going to be really interesting because, again, no information gatherer when it comes to a Sova here for Rise. So they're going to be a little bit blind through that mid-map as well.
Yeah, that is tough to not have the drone, not have the recon. It's definitely going to deny a lot of intel. Yeah, you're going to have the Cypher cam and things of that nature to maybe kind of keep tabs on flanks if you're trying to just focus on like single side executes where you're not really playing the map control, you're just more playing set pieces on sites. And I'd imagine A is going to be the more friendly target, right? B's a lot more claustrophobic. It's a very tight choke point to get in there unless you're able to actually get some top mid control and get to the tunnel. So yeah, I'll be curious to see what Rise's attacking strategy is going to be going forward. But we probably won't learn too much this round, Chiff.
No, probably not too much at all. Just see if you can get some ultimate orbs, get a little bit of resource generation going on. Shazam going to take over the middle of the map once more as he peeks through the A double doors. Recon bolt will be destroyed. Shake's having a little bit of a battle here with the sentry turret, which Dapper says, yep, I'll take that fight every day of the week. And in fact, the sentry turret does come into play for an elimination.
There you go. Dapper's turret may have more frags than some of Rise at this point. Always a stat line you don't want to be on the wrong end of, but obviously early days, so we can't really blame them, as Sentinels are just spreading all across center of the map and having no trouble mopping things up with their upgraded weapons. It's what we've come to expect in situations like these, but Rise will be able to battle against the Sentinels bonus next round. That's when they can try to make their first statement here on Breeze, as it'll be a flawless round from Sentinels. Love to see that. See them just carry over all the Spectres. I'm spending the extra cash.
I'm just going to be really curious to see what the executes are going to look like here from Rise. Because, like we mentioned, this is a team that does kind of like to read the lay of the land before they go. But this is not a setup that's going to allow you to find instant information. Like, you're really just looking at what can you get from Neptune, really, right? I mean, that's really the kind of initiation you have.
Yeah, basically just hoping that you can get something on the Trailblazer. Obviously, the flashes are going to give you a little bit of detection. Doesn't give you exact intel, but it does let you know if you've, spotted someone. All right, so they get a little bit of that. It's going to be a lot of reliance on Neptune in that regards. They're going to flash to Pillar to try to get Shanks set up early, just to kind of make sure there's no one cheating from Sentinels aggressively. However, we can see that there is that taking place elsewhere on the match. Shazam's push cave. That's a very powerful position to have with that Spectre. He's going to basically be guaranteed an up-close and personal fight if someone comes that direction. He could also maybe lurk behind, but he's also kind of in a one-and-done spot as well. So it's a little bit risky, but we'll see how it plays out.
Yeah, you will have the ability, I think, for Sentinels defensively to rotate over quickly in case you do see point of contact. Also, an alarm bot placed up towards the top side of vents. So Sentinels will rotate a third member over to B just to essentially fortify and be a bastion there right as the entry will come through. But Rise again trying to come on over. Shazam, unexpectedly so, makes his play over towards Cave. Able to get a lot of damage done, but can't find the kill. So Superman for the first. And now all of a sudden, Shanks from mid-map, he can actually dash on in and maybe clear a little bit extra space here as Rise attacks.
Yeah, he's had such, heavy mid-control over towards that mid-door for quite some time now, so he can be that extra angle of attack. They're going to flash through the Viper wall and start making some progress on that A-site. Spike will go down. And basically the defense is being funneled through defending spawn. Shanks does get caught in mid, however, so it equals the numbers back up, and now Sentinels have something to launch off of.
And they're already here to contest Neptune. Guiding Light will go through, able to find the flash, but TENZ stays alive. Able to get the Cloud Burst in to gain separation while he's found at the top with the Marshal. But Neptune able to take one with him. Derek's still a part of the play as well, just a little bit deeper. Good help coming through, but Zombs trades things back. 2v1 favoring the Sentinels defense, but Derek fully healthy. Not going to be able to find Zombs in time, so it's 3 for the Viper player of Sentinels. And how about 3 on the board for Sentinels of the squad?
Yeah, I mean, it was some good ideas early on in that round from Rise, right? They were able to get Shanks pretty deep up mid pretty early on, get him to mid-door, set up the potential for the A split without having to really have that Hall's access to do it. They did kind of trap Shazam in that deep cave position, get that opening pick, and get themselves something to work with a nice Viper wall on the A side to cut themselves in. But Shanks getting caught out in middle allowed Sentinels to equal the numbers back up. And they also just were able to get some pretty quick picks from kind of that back hall position towards defender spawn and able to use that to work their way in. And now we have to see Rise go with this triple Marshal setup, as well as a couple of upgraded pistols. Alt is available for Neptune, so Seeker's going to give them a little bit of space, but not a whole lot of firepower to back it up.
No, not at all. Especially when you have TENZ on the other side, that's going to have the one-shot wonder of the operator in the mix. Aldrone able to free 6, so get a little bit further forward. And yeah, that's just going to be one of those problems that Rise is going to need to find a solution to, because that's free every day of the week and twice on Sunday for Sentinels.
Yeah, I mean, what they relied on before was just using their side flashes to be able to get up middle and try to scare Sentinels away from taking these aggressive mid stances. But yeah, in a round like this, they don't have the resources to commit to that. And it's kind of getting eaten up right now. It's going to be 4-0 in favor of Sentinels, and maybe another flawless round for Sentinels. The second flawless round of the half. So they are really kicking it into gear early on here.
Oof. I mean, it's one of those things that you don't expect Rise to obviously find the round going up against the operator of TENZ and full rifles, but still, it's like, you would love to see something. I mean, they're barely even getting out of spawn at the moment, Dust. I mean, it's not looking all that positive. And this is a round where I hate to say it so early on to the series, but this is going to feel like a must win. I mean, you've only gotten 2 plants off so far. One was in the pistol,
at least show some promise, right? Get into like a post-plant 2 versus 2, try to make that progress, because they did had some interesting things go on their opening gun round against the Sentinels bonus. Like, they were able to get some space, able to make some things happen, but now they're starting to get picked apart. Forward progression again denied early on here. TENZ looking for a second, misses, able to dash away though and evade.
Dapper though from the Cloudburst, able to find 2, tries to spam down for a third. Not able to quite lock it down, but Shazam is there for the help, and TENZ will make sure the front side of Cave stays safe. And yeah, this is going to be likely another flawless coming through unless Derek can do something, but even doing something may not be enough. He's going to have to do a lot here. And he's got every single Sentinel member looking at him. And yeah, another flawless comes through in
That's
Rise.
so unreal.
Ooh.
3 flawless rounds in a row. I believe Sick has the entirety of Rise covered by himself in frag count. So does Sick and TENZ, but I mean, that is so ridiculous to think about how dominant this has been as a start for Sentinels, and it's right back to Rise having to go onto a low buy. I mean, it's just Sentinels are doing whatever they want. They're dictating the pace at middle. They're able to take forward angles and get away with it. And Rise just seem a little bit shook in some of these situations. Again, I think they're certainly hurting not having an owl drone to help scope out mid. I think that they're also just, you know, struggling to find any space. They've had like 1 round that kicked off correctly, and everything else has been a struggle.
Even here, Shazam sees the information that there are a number of Rise members mid-map. To commit a little bit more utility just to see what exactly is going on, while actually it's Rise largely trying to take over the backside of Curve over towards B. Rotating over, though, is Shazam, so he's going to be playing topside platform, and this is going to be a really good look for him. Yep, sees all the information again. No utility needed for that bit of intel, though.
On target.
Yeah, able to step out and grab Neptune as well. Spot Superman, he's done for as well, and Shazam getting all the intel he needs as well as bringing members down. Spots to Spike, does eventually go out, but Dapper and TENZ able to trade right back, no problem. And it's going to be 6-0 for Sentinels, and while this is not a flawless round, this is probably the 5th round that's halfway survived with 4 members at the very least. So they are sweeping through this game right now. Something's got to give quickly here, as they are just getting outgunned. I mean, almost everyone on Sentinels has the entirety of Rise covered by themselves in frag count.
Yeah.
This is a timeout requirement.
Oh, for sure. I mean, this is getting out of hand quickly. And what was round 4, we talked about kind of maybe being a must-win round, or round 5, pardon me. This one absolutely is. You can't go down 0-7 because that means you're down 0-8. And at that point, I think you start just looking at Ascent. So let's just kind of play coach role here for a moment. Like, what are we looking for Rise? Because we haven't really had a chance to see them play this map at all yet, to be fair. The only round that they've actually been able to get onto a site, save the pistol, was after they were able to get Shanks through mid-map. He contested through A double doors, and then you had the wall from Superman to come up to get them onto the site. But even still, the post point wasn't comfortable.
It's tough because you don't have a Sova to get information with the drone and things of that nature. You have to rely on the Trailblazer a lot for that. On top of that, because you have Viper as your solo controller, you have to be a little bit more careful about how you're placing, you know, your wall or your orb. Because I mean, if you place on A, it's kind of telegraphed you're going to have to go that direction. It's one of those things where it's almost like I feel like they're going to have to kind of either start giving up on the whole mid option altogether and just focus on some side set pieces, like kind of in the early to mid round, and just kind of hope that you can cover the rotations, or they're going to have to find a more effective way to battle back middle. I'm not sure what protocols they have in place for that, but it seems like right now they're struggling to even just get a platform to launch off of.
Well, this time, all 5 members, save just Shanks, are going to be making their way over towards B.
I mean, that's tough, too. Look at that. They're having the cost of Trailblazer just to clear out elbow position. That doesn't really give you anything. You're not getting top middle. You're not, you know, threatening B tunnel. You know, you're not really gaining a whole lot from that. All you're really doing is making sure that you're not getting pushed mid. And then you're just kind of sitting back in a holding pattern. I mean, look at all the utility they're spending just to make sure they're not getting pushed mid right now.
Yeah.
It's tough because I feel like that's not really maximizing the value of that utility.
Well, the Aldrin also came out defensively to make sure there was no counter push coming from Rise as well, so Sentinels are going to feel pretty confident that they're safe in mid-map. Flash also came through just to make sure that Shazam could peek one more time. And then, yeah, nothing has been seen. So 50 seconds on the clock, and Supa is actually rotating back over towards A. Could be a fake wall, then execute to B, which it does seem like that very well may be the case. But that means that you got a 3v2 over towards B. You have to effectively clear.
At least Shanks is going to build off of this. It's not just the wall being thrown out there. He's actually going to put pressure with the daggers. That's going to help sell the fake even more. He's going to lay some smokes down. He's definitely keeping A interested, but he's not done enough to cause the full rotation. Sick is still playing inside B side. He's still got a teammate in B tunnels. He's found the opening pick.
And that's not great because Zama's watching the cross angle. Oh no, it's all gone wrong. You have to appreciate the energy, but the efficiency of it, not quite there. 15 seconds on the clock. Spike has been alleviated over towards the B zone itself. And of course, all Sentinels are going to rotate over. This is going to be another lost round. It is one of those that it feels like, okay, like Rise, you started to put together the right play, but at the same point, like you didn't fully execute with any sort of commitment over towards B. Like the fake was really well done. You had an opportunity that just didn't go.
Yeah, it's one of those things where you're really hoping that your opponent bites on that Viper wall. Because with that Viper wall going so late, and with that being the only controller you have on your lineup, you feel like they have to play off that wall, right? Like otherwise they're going to be going into B with virtually no vision blocking, and they're just going to be relying on flashes and, you know, just dashing in and hoping for the best. And when you start seeing Shanks put down the cloud burst, you're really starting to feel, okay, like, looks like it is going to be A. But they never really did quite enough on the timing to really fully commit Sick off of B side or to get Zoms to make his rotation as well. They were able to still keep two people in the vicinity when the attack came in and were able to handle it just fine.
Oh boy. Well, this is when the rubber meets the road here for Rise. Need to find something. TENZ is starting to feel really feisty too. Even pulling out the blades here. Fury Orb comes through. Flashpoint also a mix. Dapper though watching the corner. Finds two more again. It's just the crossfire setup. How do you get rid of this? Apparently you just don't. All 5 members will fall in another flawless. That's what, 5 and 8 rounds that they've had.
Yeah, they have had a lot of flawless rounds, and they've had several rounds where they've survived with 4 members. I mean, if you look at their total death count, it's pretty insane. Like, they've had a total of 10 deaths across their entire lineup across 8 rounds. I mean, it is bonkers how well Sentinels are playing right now. And again, you're seeing another situation where Rise are able to get some space. It's similar to what they did in their opening buy round against the Sentinels bonus. They just cannot beat those deeper in the site crossfire positions that Sentinels have. I mean, that's twice now that Dats from that corner position by mid-doors has been able to line up a multi-frag with very little response out of Rise to retaliate.
Oh, now the Vipers pick defensively will lock down B. Heavy defensive stack on numbers for Sentinels over towards
Sick
A.
as mid.
Yep. Where do you go? I mean, this is a slice of Swiss cheese with no holes in it at the moment. But Rise able to find one, but that may be about it. Even trades coming through. Even TENZ with the Sheriff. My goodness. Defending lockdown also in play, and that's going to be trouble here for Rise. Even though they do destroy it, but there's nowhere to go. Shanks tries to dash away, but TENZ was waiting for it. And now it's just down to Derek up top. TENZ going to hit that shot, but that's fine. Sick is there for the assistance, and it's a 9-0 early.
Yeah, this is... I almost feel like I'm witnessing a crime that I should be reporting since I have a proper authority. I feel like there's some type of bystander effect going on, and man, I feel a little bit guilty. Should we call someone?
I mean, we might have to.
I don't know who we can.
Maybe Bach or Van Silly will know. I mean, they're in studio right there. Like,
yeah.
Is there anyone
might
local
need to break
that they
open
can
the
call?
red phone. Break open the red phone in case of emergency. Break glass now. You know, I don't know what to tell you. I mean, again, that round, I feel like the key point of that was that second kill TENZ got out the Sheriff on on Halls. Without that, I think that the trading was actually going okay for Rise. They were starting to, again, get that multi-prong attack on A, starting to get some space. It's just when TENZ is able to find Sanctuary at Pyramid and get that second frag, it just changed everything. And then, hell, Shanks just dashes out into Oblivion. I mean, they just seem like they're lost.
Definitely not great. Sick able to read that there are 2 players through the elbow. Trailblazer, Guiding Lights will go out. Zom's still feeling pretty greedy over towards B, and why not? He hasn't really been dealt with at all yet. He's going to have help on the rotation through mid. Here comes the hit from Rise. All 5 members coming through. Derek able to find one. Okay, opportunity here. The defensive Toxic Creep, not going to be allowed to see too much, but Zoms is using this to his advantage so darn well. Finds 2. Had a really solid read on where the third would have been coming from, but can't quite find the triple, and with that, maybe a chance to actually get the spike planted.
Maybe, but there's Hunter's Fury available, and then he's going to stall out that plant right now, and Dapper comes in for a couple off the back of it. Superman is able to respond, but it's still a tough 2 versus 2 with Spike still not planted.
And Dapper's on the backside, trying to open up a little bit more space. Sentry turret down. Jake's going to get revealed and dealt with. Shazam able to find that kill, no problem. Supa on the corner, can't block down the shots. Had maybe an opportunity for an impressive 1v2 if he could have snapped to the second, but never finished the first, and it's going to be 10-0 to Sentinels.
That's the closest round Rise has had this entire half, though. I mean, just being able to burst onto B, get a nice initial entry. The problem is, it's just a little bit of inefficient trading on Zoms in the back corner of the site, letting him get 2 when he was basically getting pinched. And this situation right here, you got to be able to be a little bit efficient with that. Obviously, Hunter's Fury caused some problems here. Dapper able to set that flank in they were never prepared for. And, I mean, Sentinels just have this map covered, man. There's really no gaps that they've really allowed Rise to exploit. They're firing on all cylinders. They're in the form that you would expect out of them. And again, I think this comes back to Rise's map pool woes. When you have Icebox as a weakness and you haven't played Breeze yet in official to really know where you stand, it makes it really hard to navigate this series.
That's something we brought up even during their run for Challengers 2. You know, yeah, it was one of those win two before you lose two situations. They were able to do that, but only if barely. And they still, we kind of talked about it when we were watching it over live, was there are some big gaps for not just Rise, but a number of teams when it comes to Breeze being added to the map pool and maybe not being necessarily as well versed on it as you need to be. First couple of kills coming through for Sentinels, 5v3 situation. And honestly speaking, Rise is a bit trapped here in the middle of the map with Seekers chasing him down.
At least have been able to get Shazam back here, so able to get a little bit of mid control established. They have the push here through A halls as well by Derek, and he might even be able to get a little bit of a flank off here on the TENZ. Actually spots Dapper and TENZ and gets them both, and that is what they finally needed to break something open. It's a nice aggressive flank maneuver.
Wait, what?
Wait, what?
What did we just watch?
I don't know, but if Psalms wins this 1 versus 2, you might as well stick a fork in Rise for this map. They need to close this.
Yeah. They've got a good post-plant position. That's the decent kind of situation at the moment. Toxic Screen can play with time here. Zoms is fully healthy, though, but has to clear so much space.
Oh, yeah.
That's the biggest issue. You just don't know if there's someone lurking behind a box somewhere. Rise
no
very
utility
well,
either to cover yourself.
Yeah, Rise very well should have this round, no problem. But Zoms, of course, going to give it a go. Why not? More than enough economy to play with. So you'll toggle, just maybe see if there's any information. He will catch the spike here. Nice overhead view of where exactly the snake fight's coming out, and there will not be enough time to defuse here. And Super beyond that will also not even give the consideration a second thought as he does find the kill. So Rise on the board. Oh, but you feel like it just took a little bit too long here in this offensive half.
Yeah, this is one of the, well, this is the only time that they've been able to actually use that Halls control to actually get something from it. The previous couple of times they've been able to get into A Halls, whenever they flip the switch, they've gotten busted and kind of held back from actually getting onto site. This round, you're able to see Derek throughout all the train that was going on in the middle, be able to actually get deep into towards defender spawn, get in behind Dapper and TENZ, and crack open the A site basically by himself. Without his move, then that's probably another round for Sentinels, and it might have been not only flawless rounds that Sentinels been getting all game long, but a flawless map. But at least Rise able to put that one on the board.
And who knows what they have defensively for us. You would love to get this second round, though, just to keep the potential of a dramatic comeback alive. But Shazam will find first blood. That's up the middle of the map. Shanks walking into sight through the toxic cloud. But he will be revealed, and oh boy. Now all of a sudden Sentinels will be very aware of the threat, and Seekers will have to come through, largely just to make sure that there is some sort of an exit here for Shanks.
Yeah, lockdown going in here for Dapper, though, to try to kind of entrench on this site. Shanks still able to get the pick onto TENZ. They're starting to make some forward progress here, trying to see if they can get all the way and stop this lockdown, but Dapper going to disallow that, and now they're in some real trouble.
Just going to commit for the plant, though. Nobody will be detained by this. Neptune going to be shrugged back, and oh my goodness, the damage is severe. Shazam still a part of this hit, just never even rid of the sight. We'll find one, and a second Sick also a part of it, and my goodness. I wouldn't even call it a retake. It's just a recontest of what was a post plant. Unbelievable resiliency from Sentinels again.
Yeah, it was a consistent theme throughout the half. Just Rise never able to crack open truly that back calls crossfire on a site, with the exception of one aggressive lurk round from Derek that got the job done. I mean, it was just Sentinels all half long, completely dominant performance. I mean, there's really nothing even to break down, to be honest with you, Schiff, but I'm sure we'll try, but not before a short break. Stay tuned, we'll be right back.
Welcome back, everybody, and I'm sure you're probably looking, if you're tuning in for the first time, saying, what in the world did I miss? If you're just joining in for the first time here, it was essentially flawlessness from the side of Sentinels in the first half, and realistically speaking, there just was not an offensive response for the default setups for Sentinels here, Dust.
Yeah, I think Sentinels had a total of like 6 truly flawless rounds, and they had a bunch of rounds where they only lost 1 player. So
ahead.
they really did pretty much clean sweep that half. The win blemish, which I'm sure they're not too upset about. In their 3 games they played on Breeze prior to this, they won no less than 4 attacking rounds. So that should put them on pace to close, but we'll see if Rise can try to muster up something here. As we see Sentinels just playing a pretty spread offense here, kind of keeping tabs on any type of push through cave while also, you know, clearing out elbow position and just kind of keeping their options open.
And Dapper making a little bit of noise. Shazam also in position to potentially seek out some information over towards A. It looks like the Spike is happy to rotate that direction for what eventually seems to be a hit. Now, defensively, for the side of Rise, they are a little short-handed here because you've got no slow orbs. You've got really no decay ability either because both your Sage and your Viper are on the other side. And here comes the information, and with that also the hit. Still not rotating, though, is Rise. Sentinel's already taking away a lot of space, but the Cyber Trap will be there for Derek. Able to find one. That'll be a good start for the defense.
Yeah, they're able to start kind of backing up and just kind of playing these longer range battles now with the pistols. As Sentinels, though, able to close in on Pyramid, get the spike down, get a frag back to themselves, get it back into a 4-on-4 situation. Now they can just kind of use this wall as sanctuary and kind of force Rise to press forward.
Not expecting the immediate response, though, but Rise still come away with a 3-for-1. So it is just down to Shazam, 1v3 situation, playing a bit more of a passive angle. Does he have a look at where the spike is planted is the real question. No, he does not, because there is a wall down in front of him. Oh, but Shazam able to find one, able to find 2, but not able to get over the top of the wall for the 3rd. The Void sticking for the defuse will allow Rise the pistol win.
Indeed it will, and that is more of a survival requirement than really, you know, putting them in a position to come back just yet, but at least that's the first box checked off, and still a close one done. That was a labored victory, but again, able to get it done. You know, being able to play back behind this Viper wall, able to eventually kind of flash their way through and kind of use that to gain some ground and get a couple of big frags to put them up, while obviously providing sanctuary for the actual defuse. And so that'll keep them going. That'll get them onto SMGs, and we are seeing a pretty decent investment, though, from Sentinels. They're going to get some Sheriffs and a Marshal out there. They're not looking to full save. They're looking to invest, and we'll see if they can throw a wrench in the plans of Rise with it.
And 4 kills with a plant. Sentinels feeling frisky. Maybe pulling out the old strat from the playbook, the we're just better strat, and just let's see what happens. I mean, you would have a lot of ground to stand on if you wanted to make that argument that at the moment you are just better. But Rise, pretty solid defense, and now some extra weapons to try to fortify whatever they decide to do here. And you, well, for a moment, so you have 3 members over towards B. Again, there's really no ability for Rise to even check nor clear mid-map, though. That's the big problem.
Yeah, it is indeed. Sentinels do have a lot of space here, but it's about making that next breakthrough and actually getting onto one of these sites. It's going to come down to timing, as there is a cam watching that mid-doors position, waiting to see if Sentinels are indeed looking to approach that direction. In the meantime, TENZ is holding on to middle. He's making sure no one's rotating through B, through mid just yet. There is still plenty of defense, though, in place at Halls and in the site itself, and they're very aware of this mid-doors attack.
Shanks for 1, but the immediate response from Sick. Also tagged after the play was there. So he's going to try to have to lock things down with the Odin, or pardon me, the Ares, and will be able to do so with 2. TENZ still able to gain some space to work with up towards the front side of site. Poise trying to meet him. TENZ still finds one, dashes away. And the door will be shut into play, but not quite fast enough. Poise able to find one in return, and it just falls onto the shoulders of 10. 1v2 situation with the Sheriff, and Supa will clean things up. So an investment for Sentinels, but still Rise 2 rounds in a row.
Yeah, really well done by Derek with that Ares there. When the initial trade comes in and Sentinels are able to break through mid doors onto that A site, you start to wonder if Sentinels are going to be able to get the extra space they need to actually get on there and get a plant and make things interesting. Instead, we see Derek able to tee off with that Ares and kind of silence that. But now Sentinels, you know, with all they have done, are still able to full buy rifles here. And so they're able to come and attack this Rise bonus, and they need to somehow find a way to convert this, otherwise they are going to be against the Sentinels map point.
You win this one, though, if you're Rise and you start to maybe establish a little bit of confidence. Hey, we can play up against these guys. Let's just not let that offensive half dictate the entire series.
Look at how free Sentinels are getting mid, man. They are already in B tunnels this early in the round. And the drone's
drone
clearing
will
out
scout
that front
out
corner.
one. It's just such a lack of information here from Rise overall. Poise has to respond to whatever comes his way almost immediately. TENZ already through, trying to work his way onto site. The toxic screen providing a bit of a deterrent, but is it large enough is the question. Poise for one. Again, the double focus that he has to pull. You see him just looking left, looking right. Sentinels are all over this site. They've completely isolated, looking for Shanks to peek. Yeah, Sit gets that challenge. So probably one more, and Sit for 3. That'll lead to a plant, and Derek will have to find a way to navigate a 1v4.
Yeah, this is just looking like really the final nails are being hammered into the coffin for Rise, at least for this map. As the spike will go down, a 4-1 post-plant favoring Sentinels to get to map point, and they'll have 9 chances to win in regulation from that point forward. And you can already just see the stark contrast in map fluency and just comfortable. You know what, Sentinels being able to take top mid control pretty much with ease. They were so quickly in the B tunnels. Something that Rise could never really do. I mean, the furthest up mid they ever got was the mid door towards A site. They could never really threaten, you know, a defending spawn flank or, you know, a B tunnel set up for some type of B split. Meanwhile, Sentinels are able to accomplish it pretty much immediately. And it just doesn't really instill a whole lot of confidence and faith that Rise are going to be able to figure out a way to win 9 in a row to force an overtime when you're seeing Sentinels get that much map control that easily.
Yeah, very fair point. But we'll see what they can put together here. Backs up against the wall for map number 1. A map that, again, like we had mentioned, the desk had touched on. We've never seen Rise play this map, and I think we're starting to realize maybe why. Sentinels very quickly on towards the A site. The only defensive member actually on the site is Derek, and he only has a Marshall, but quickly on the flank. Shanks is trying to make a play from behind. The Seekers, I believe, will scout that out, no problem. Neptune trying to assist from the side door, and Shanks has actually found 2 kills. Not bad. Keeps the play defensively, maybe alive for a touch longer than you'd like if you're Sentinels, but it all falls down to Neptune, and he will very quickly fall. 13-3, the first map, and if you tuned in late, well, sorry, you missed map 1 pretty quickly.
You know, Sentinels are just trying to be real kind and keep us ahead of schedule here on the broadcast. Give us a little bit of buffer room for later if we need it.